toy fans, and welcome back to Richard's Toy Room once again. Well, today we have something near and dear to my heart, and that is the original Planet of the Apes. This is a Milton Bradley board game. It is copyrighted 1974, and it is based on, obviously, the movie Planet of the Apes. Not going to go into any of the history or anything like that of Planet of the Apes. If you're watching this video, you're probably familiar with it. There were 5 films and a TV series and a cartoon. And then until the early 2000s, when it was finally brought back with the Tim Burton film, and then the most recent films with all the CGI. That's about all the background I'm going to give you. So anyway, this is, like I said, the board game based on the Planet of the Apes franchise. And I had a friend who had this when I was a kid, and that was the only time I ever got to see it. I never acquired this game as a kid, even though I desperately wanted it. And being notoriously thrifty, I'll use that word. Some of my friends would use different words. I actually passed on one of these games at a flea market, maybe about 10 years ago or so, for $10. I wanted it cheaper. So I pay more than that just for the shipping now, because I got this online. I actually have 2 of them. But what I actually did was I bought this one first, and it was missing a couple of pieces. And, the box isn't exactly in the best condition either. So I was trying to find another one cheap enough that I could get the pieces that I was missing and make one nice game, or at least decent game. So this one here is not complete. It's missing just a few pieces. Mainly the mechanism that controls the jail cell. But stuff like that turns up all the time on eBay. So that's where this game will be going soon, as of the making of this video anyway. But this one I'm keeping. So I'm going to show you what it comes with. And then we'll set it up and do a simulated play. We won't do like a whole round or anything like that. But so let's find out what's in this box. Oh, just one thing I want to point out beforehand. If you see here on the box picture, it shows 2 dice. It shows them white, but they're actually red in these games. I've never seen one with white dice. So on the inside of the lid are the instructions for the game. And under that would be the board. I'll take a look at that. I'll show you each corner here. So that's the board. Now inside, this is part of the, I call it missing, but I'm sure a lot of people just threw this away when they got it. There's a little, this is where you punched out all the game markers, the game pieces, and it gives the instructions on how to put this mechanism together that controls the cage. And also the little side piece here that holds all the extra pieces. Another thing that I was in one of these games was all the little pieces that, don't ask me why I save it, it's weird, but all the little pieces that were punched out from like the cage and stuff. But under here, if we take this out, this is where the actual cage pieces are, and this was also something that most people probably threw away as well. It's the actual frame from where it was printed and die cut, this thing here. And so that's another thing you probably never see. Now, one thing I did notice that was really weird, and luckily I didn't have to make that kind of choice, was, and I don't know why they would have done this, but maybe half of them were done this way and half of them were done the other way. On the other game, this part here, see how it's folded and attached to these three pieces of the cage, was on this end. I don't know, that's weird. I mean, maybe this was like one big piece in the way they printed it up. I don't know, just weird. I don't know why they would change that, but it doesn't change anything at all in the game or whatever. So anyway, let's move these pieces out of the way so we can set up the game board here. Alright, so the way you put this together is, it's pretty simple. You just fold these pieces and put all the tabs in. Like that. See? It's not exactly the straightest thing in the world. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe this needs to get kind of folded down just a little bit more. I didn't really then this goes in here. Like that. And the little slots, it slides down like that. But, you know, it's not exactly perfectly square. And that could be to maybe do some minor warpage or something. Then these pieces go in here. But these, I found, are a little finicky, and sometimes they do hang up. They don't seem to want to drop freely. Like, see, that shouldn't be like it is right now. It should fall down when there's nothing there. So it's a little, like I said, they're a little finicky. They kind of rub a little bit, you know, because these pieces aren't exactly perfectly straight. But I would imagine maybe with the weight of a few of the game pieces on the top, they'd probably drop a little better. Anyway, so now what you have to do is you have to put this thing together. Now this comes with a little piece of foam in here, kind of looks like one of those finger poppers. Or at least that's what it just totally disintegrated and gone, the original. It was just a piece of foam. So I just found some packing material that, like I said, similar to that finger popper foam. That's what I decided to use. And I cut it into a cylinder and put it in there so it fits. Then you got to get the other parts of it. You got this part. You got to watch when you're buying one of these that this part's not broken, because this is an easily broken part. And then you have this, and where's the other piece? Here it is. Here's a little turning mechanism. So basically you just put this in here, like that. And then that goes on top of there. And this goes in here. Oops, wrong way. And then you push the little clips. I'm trying to be very careful because this is over 40 years old. There. And that's your little spring-loaded mechanism thing there. That goes on top of here. And there it goes. Now the way this thing works is normally it's, and I'll show you in a second, it goes attached to the cage, but you can see how it's kind of set like that at an angle. And this holds up the little top part of the cage. So the way this thing works is when it comes into play, the player who places a captured human on top of the cage spins this dial. You spin it as much as you want. The idea is, if you noticed that those little fingers underneath there, there's spaces between them. So in some cases, nothing will happen. In other cases, this thing will move. But you don't know because you can't see it and you can't feel anything. It doesn't make any noise. So you're just taking your chance and thinking, okay, let's see what I can do. So then the person whose color was put up here gets to push the button after. So you push the button. Now you see that moved? That means one of those fingers lined up with it. That will release the top of the cage and the humans will fall in. So this goes on here like this. Then you get there. And that holds these things in place. So that when you have a human up there, like that, they're waiting for this to happen. So let me get these all lined up on their stands and then we'll come back and explain the gameplay. Okay, so all the characters are the same. All the pictures, you get 2 each of a male and a female human, and the backside actually shows their backside. So you get 4 pieces for each player, and there are 2 of each identical on all the colors. Okay, so now as you can see, there are 4 of each color here on the board. And in the center, between all these pictures, there are 4. They're not color coded, so you can pick any one you want. But they each have like a little enter arrow with the white block, and that's where you can enter your man. Okay, I actually made one mistake in my original setup of the game. You're supposed to put 1 of each player. This makes more sense now that I think about it. You're supposed to have 1 of each color player in each of these 4. So that means you're kind of distributed around the board and not all coming out of one area. I should have read the directions ahead of time before I told you that. Before I just assumed everything. Anyhow, I mean, that's not a big deal. I mean, it's just correcting myself now. But now the object of the game is, it's a game of survival, and each player, while trying to avoid capture, tries to move his opponent into the capture area, which are these orange ones on each corner of these pictures, colored pictures. And then they'll subsequently go into the cage. Now, players, you can move in any direction, but you cannot be moved by another player if you are on a space on the path that matches your color. For example, this blue guy, if he's on this blue space, he's safe. Nobody can touch him. And same thing, obviously, with any other color, to their appropriate color. So you get 2 dice, like I said, and they're red with gold dots. This was one of the pieces I was missing, that I had to get another exact Planet of the Apes red dice. And so the rules, basically, I'm not going to go through every single one, but the basic rules are each turn, the player, whoever, you figure out who's going first, and you roll. So I'll just make a roll here. Start with blue since it's easiest to see on the what you're looking at here, for me anyway. Okay, so I got a 5 and a 2, and it doesn't say that there's any rule for what number you need to enter a man, so I would assume that means you can just enter on your own. Well, since nobody else is really playing yet, so I would take enter my guy out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here there's an arrow that goes 3 ways. So on my next turn, I can actually go back this way, but I can't do it on the same turn. And I can go that way, or I can go that way. And since there's no one else on the board at this moment, I can't do anything with the other dice, so my turn's over. Now let's just, for the sake of trying to show you how this game works, let's move a few of these players out onto the board here, and then we'll do a sample turn. So, all right, so now let's pretend. Okay, so we got a 6 and a 5. So let's have the green guy, that be his turn. He's gonna move 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's safe. He's over here. Well, not safe, but he's not on any sort of spot to do anything. Now green guy gets to move a red, yellow, or blue guy. So let's say he wants to move this blue guy, the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Captured. All right, so now he goes up here. Now, what happens now is green guy gets to take this here and turn it. Let's try that. All right. Now, since it's the blue guy up there, the blue guy gets to push the button and see what happens. Oh, I see both sides didn't fall. Blue guy's captured. That's it for him. He's out of the game. Okay, so I moved it so that it's not going to activate. So you see what happens when I push the button? Nothing. It's between those fingers on that little round part inside, the sprocket, whatever you want to call it. So if there was somebody up here, they won't fall in. To win, you have to have the last human left on the board, and that's how you win. So one other rule that's kind of interesting, though, if, let's say this one here landed on this same spot here, they have to move one more spot. They can't both be on the same spot. So they'd have to move here or here. And there's also a rule where you can rescue a player. But as far as the rescue mission goes, let's say there's all these guys up here. Now, it's your turn, and let's see if we can do it. You roll a 4. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and deliberately land yourself on captured. Now, when you do that, you've basically rescued everybody on the top here, and they all get to go back to any, one of these entry spots. You put them wherever you want, and that's how you can get people off of there. So it's not like a death sentence once you're up there. There is a chance of rescue. So that's basically it. It's kind of cool. I wish I had somebody to play it with. Humans. Yeah, so last one left on the board, they win. And that's how you play the vintage Planet of the Apes game by Milton Bradley, 1974. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please come back for more. I've got all kinds of cool stuff.